Miyo-Wîcêhtowin is a group at Outlook High School where we initially set it up to focus on truth and reconciliation. We found it was something that was missing as an extracurricular group. So we started it back in 2021 with our first event being, which was actually named Miyo-Wîcêhtowin, the Truth and Reconciliation Orange Shirt Day in Regina. And so the girls and I, we all took a trip to Regina where we learned more about what they mean when they say truth and reconciliation. So our purpose has always been to learn from others, to bring that knowledge back to our school and to share it in different ways and to celebrate Indigenous culture throughout our school and throughout our community. So we've done lots of different things at our school.
Within our Miyo-Wîcêhtowin group, we've done many activities for the school, such as Soup and Bannock Day, Red Shirt Day, Orange Shirt Day, Rock Your Mocks Day, Métis Heritage Day where we made soup. And wherever we go, we bring knowledge back to our school in hopes that we can inspire people to continue reconciliation.
We decided to go to Winnipeg because it has a lot to offer within the Indigenous culture. It has the Canadian Human Rights Museum and Louis Riel's gravesite. There's several restaurants that are Indigenous based and even the Inuit art gallery.
In order to make our Winnipeg trip happen, we had to do lots of fundraising, lots of planning, lots of other things to make it happen. It took us 2 years to be able to actually go on this trip. We did several fundraisers, one including a Ukrainian dinner that we did throughout our school. We made Ukrainian supper, the public bought a plate, and then we served it to them. We got several grants. We got some private donations throughout the community. We did our school's recycling to get some extra money, and we received an honorarium for a chili that we made, and it went into a special recipe book.
The thing that had an impact on me personally was the Holodomor statue, which was around when Joseph Stalin was part of Russia. It was where the Ukrainians were starving because their crops weren't growing. And the statue was of a little girl who was very skinny, and she was holding 5 grains of wheat because if they had more than 5 grains of wheat, they'd be killed. I felt this trip was very valuable because it really opened my eyes on what's going on in not just Canada and around the world. And it made me want to help people so that it isn't as bad as it was back then.
The impact that this trip had on me personally was learning about all the genocides around the world. I was surprised to learn that I knew hardly any that had happened, as there was genocides across every continent. It was very sad to learn how many different types of genocides there were. There were ones where people were killed, ones where people were sold, and ones where people's identity and culture was ripped away from them. I think this trip was valuable because it opened my eyes to what's happening around the world, as I wasn't as educated as I thought I was, and it made me want to learn more so that I can bring this back to my community and my family and help spread awareness about everything that's happened so that we don't repeat the past.
The thing that had the most impact on me personally during this trip was learning about genocides. It really astonished me to know how people treated each other in the world, and I really opened my eyes to what I didn't know before. I feel this trip was very valuable because it showed me different views and perspectives on how people think and what we should know. Something that had an impact on me was learning about the stages humans go towards that often can lead to a genocide. So it can start off with just categorizing. So someone has a difference. You know that there's 2 different groups, but you still treat them with respect and socialize with them. But this can lead to something called othering. So this is where you start to see that group as not as good as you don't treat them with as much respect, and then they're started to not even be considered human, which is dehumanization. So you don't treat them with any dignity or respect at all, and this is when they lose that part in life where they can be treated as equal.
All human beings are born free and equal in rights and dignity. This was a very important quote that was instilled in us at the Museum of Human Rights. This is important because even though we come from all different places, we all deserve the same rights as humans. These are not realities for everyone, having the same equal rights and freedoms, but hopefully someday it can be. This was an important trip because it taught us the realities that we need to come together as people and as a society to make these goals come true.
So on this Winnipeg trip, what impacted me probably the most was we learned about all these different things, and you knew the gist of it, but you really didn't know what was below the surface. So I really enjoyed learning about the deeper parts and really understanding it. What I valued the most was learning pretty much what little was done to bring all this hate into the world, and in reality what little we have to do to push it all back out. Because I brought all this knowledge back to the community and hope we can all one day have a great world, like that world we all dreamed of when we were all little kids.
As an educator and as a social justice advocate, I think what impacted me most in this trip, or what I feel is most valuable, obviously everything we learned and saw and the wealth of knowledge we bring back with us, but seeing the passion in these girls and seeing that they will continue to fight for what is right and to learn more and to spread what they've learned to others. And I think they'll make a big impact in our world by doing this. And hopefully, going forward, when more students see what we did and see what we do on a yearly basis, they will join our group and create more change.